welcome to Not That AA, episode 6. This is AJ.
And this is Allie.
Thank you for tuning into our podcast. Just a quick note before we start. If you're listening to this on podcast services, you can find some of our older episodes on our YouTube channel. Just search for Game Over Therapy. Because of the limit on SoundCloud, we've decided to put some of them in video format on YouTube, so you can find the older episodes there. But this time, we want to premiere a new segment called Strange But True. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Sorry to interrupt. I'm being so rude. Basically, we decided to add this segment because we see a lot of, interesting news stories and just kind of our stuff that you should be aware of, or stuff that could be just random trivia, but just things that we found interesting that is going on in the world today. And I guess I will start because I just saw this article about 15 minutes ago. And the headline is, Chinese woman found dead after a month trapped in an elevator. And I thought that this was completely, at first I thought it was fake, but then I read through it. And apparently what happened is this woman, she was in her early 40s. She was trapped in an elevator in this building between the 10th and 11th floor. And you're probably wondering, well, how the hell did she get trapped there, right? Did anyone hear her or what? Well, apparently there was some sort of maintenance that was being done in this building, and they had to cut the power to these elevators. And so according to the construction workers, they did check to see if people were in it, but I guess, they didn't check good enough or whatever, but they cut the power to the elevators, and this woman was stuck between the 10th and 11th floors for a month. I just can't emphasize that enough. She was stuck for a month. And so this struck me as so crazy because I know, several months ago there were those videos about escalator fails and stuff like that, and it's brought about a lot of criticism of, the building regulations in China, and I know that was brought up before the 2008 Olympics as well. And so I just thought what struck me the most about this story isn't, about building regulations or safety. I just felt so bad for that woman.
That actually brings back some, repressed memories from when I was a kid. I've never told you this.
Okay.
But I think I was in 4th grade or something, and I was with my friend ready to go home to play some video games, right? Mm-hmm. And this was back when I lived in a different country.
Yeah.
And it was an Asian country, in fact, in Taiwan. And what happened was the power had went out while we're in the elevator, and I guess no one noticed that the elevator stopped working. So we were trapped in the elevator for 4 hours.
Oh my God.
And as a 4th grader, they're just open the elevator doors by force. It's we tried. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then what people don't realize is sometimes when you cut out the power, the help button kind of short circuited.
Yeah.
So pressing the help button didn't do anything. So what ultimately happened was someone was pissed off that they couldn't get the elevator to work, so they called the fire department, and that's how we got out.
That is crazy. And that's my version of hell, because I'm claustrophobic, and I'm claustrophobic. And so just being trapped in an enclosed space like that would just freak me out. And the thing is that I'm not sure if I told you this, is that the building that I work with now, one of my lab mates actually got stuck in one of our elevators for almost an hour. And it's elevators that I ride. And so now I'm kind of terrified because our elevators are constantly broken for the most part anyways. So it's kind of a crapshoot of which ones work and which ones don't. You just kind of have to wander around. You have to wander around the different zones to try to find a working elevator. So it's kind of this buried fear that I have that I'm going to get stuck in an elevator. Worst off, and I know this might sound crazy, worst off, what I think about of being stuck in an elevator number one is the claustrophobia. Second is, what if I have to go to the bathroom? Do you just hold it? I mean, I guess you can only hold it for so long, and I have resigned myself to the thought that if one of these elevators goes, I might have to take a dump in the corner. And if I'm alone in the elevator, I think I could deal with that. But if there's other people in the elevator, then we'll just see.
See, like in this day and age, you shouldn't have to worry about that.
That's
like
true.
You know, I thought that's what the whole elevator inspection thing's for, but I guess it doesn't really catch some of these issues.
Yeah, and sometimes there's freak accidents. Like clearly, this was a freak accident. Mm-hmm. No one intended to trap her in there. I mean, it just happened. Like there was an oversight, and it happened, and. What bothers me too is she must have been screaming or trying to get attention. But like you said, I mean, and sometimes when they cut the power, the help buttons and those the fire department call buttons and stuff like that, they don't work. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I wouldn't even know how to get out in one of those scenarios.
That's why I never watched that movie. I don't know if you remember. There was a movie. I forgot what it's called, but it's basically a bunch of people got in an elevator, mm-hmm. and I guess it's like possessed by demon or something, or it's like cursed. And they got on it, and they like were dying one by one, and they couldn't get out. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not watching that because I have personal experience with that.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, so anything else on the?
No, that was just like I just thought that was interesting and terrifying at the same time.
I hope that never happens to you, those that are listening. It is incredibly terrifying because there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. So let us know if you have any elevator horror stories. We'd love to hear them and maybe share them.
And so I'll talk about my topic real quick in my news segment. So this is more of a public service announcement. So I'm sure you've heard there's something called, there's a new malware coming out called ransomware. And what happens is if you download said software, it will encrypt your whole hard drive and anything attached to it so you don't have access to it. And it's called ransomware because a new window will pop up and say your computer is now locked. You have to pay a said money or else you will never be able to access your files again. And this actually happened to, I believe, a hospital in Hollywood in California just a couple weeks ago. And they ended up paying it because, it's for patient safety reasons.
Yeah, you need those files.
And usually it's like some amount based on like the individual user. So it could be like up to $600 or mm-hmm. I think for the hospital they paid like $13,000 and it wasn't traceable because they asked to be paid in Bitcoins.
Oh.
But anyway, just make sure you guys watch out what you're downloading. Specifically, if you're a Mac user and you torrent, there's a software called Transmission. And they just announced today, actually, that some versions of Transmission have that malware embedded in it. Someone somehow got into their files and then put this malware in there. So just keep an eye out for that and make sure you back up your hard drive frequently.
Yeah, definitely back up everything. I mean, so much of our lives is digital now.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you hack into someone's phone or their computer, I mean, that's it. Like you have access to everything.
And this is not just computers either. If you have an Android phone, that's starting to show up on Android phones. Mm-hmm. And can you imagine like not being able to use your phone? It's like, hey, pay me $50 or else you won't be able to use your phone. But anyway, awful. Yeah, just something to watch out for. So
I guess now we're going to get into the bulk of our show today.
Yeah.
And so what I want to talk about is celebrity games, like game apps. Specifically the ones by Glue. There's been a few that have been really popular. There's, of course, Kim Kardashian Hollywood, which I have played. And I believe they released a Katy Perry one, but I mean, I'm just really not interested in anything Katy Perry does, so who cares? And the reason I played the Kim Kardashian one is because I just had this morbid curiosity. And so I started playing it, and I played it, what was it, like a year and a half ago or something?
Yeah, it's so long ago.
It was a while ago, and I got totally addicted to it. And basically, you're trying to become this, celebrity socialite. And I achieved the goals, and then after that, I was like, well, I already did what I wanted to do. I'm going to delete this. But recently, the next generation of the Kardashian clan or whatever, they're actually... The next gen. The new models, Kendall and Kylie, who are Jenners, not Kardashians, excuse me. They have their own game just called Kendall and Kylie. And of course, I had to download that too and play it. And I actually liked it better than Kim Kardashian Hollywood. I don't know. I guess it's one of those things where, I mean, some people, of course, download it because, you know, they're fans. But I'm sure there are people like me who download it just out of curiosity and end up enjoying it more than they should. But I don't know if anyone listening like has friends or relatives or likely girlfriends, significant others who, you know, are celebrity enthusiasts and like to play these kinds of games. But if you want a game that kind of just randomly passes the time, and I'm sure we have females in our audience too, like, it's something that's just kind of like brainless fun. Yeah. You know, and you get rewarded for, you know, doing events, because the whole Kylie and Kendall one is more focused on social media. So you kind of have this like little fake Twitter account and this fake Instagram type account, and you do vlogs and, you know, appearances and stuff like that. So it's very, I guess, in tune with today's social media culture. We've seen YouTubers become really famous. I mean, like, and actually they're doing collaborations with, you know, legitimate celebrities. For example, Gwen Stefani released her Urban Decay line, her Urban Decay Cosmetics line recently, and she did an interview with Candy Johnson, who is one of like the makeup gurus on YouTube. Kat Von D has gotten into it. Maisie Williams, who plays Arya Stark in Game of Thrones, she started her own YouTube channel.
Oh, she did?
She did, yes. And it was so funny because she has what's her name? Sophie Turner, who plays Sansa.
Oh, they're good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good
She's
friends.
made appearances on her YouTube channel. The YouTube. Sorry.
So that's why they're not in the show all that often.
They're too busy vlogging, people. But anyways, so yeah, and like people like Kylie Jenner have been on, you know, Gigi Gorgeous's channel, and so you really see this kind of meshing of, you know, these kind of self-made social media celebrities with actual, you know, quote-unquote real celebrities. And even now, YouTube has been doing these segments where, you know, famous YouTubers or popular YouTubers get to talk to the president. And I think last year it was Glozell and someone else. I forgot who it was. But this year it was Ingrid Nilsson, also known as Miss Glamorazzi, and Swoozie. You remember Swoozie,
yeah, I know
right?
Swoozie. He's hilarious.
Yeah, so and I'm a fan of Ingrid as well. So it's really interesting to see how this sort of culture has evolved, especially like in the past 5 years, from like the infancy of YouTube to like this kind of vast mainstream consumption of it. You have these people like PewDiePie and you know, Vanoss, who are in the gaming world. And then you have, you know, people who do lifestyle stuff like Bethany Moda and stuff, who have partnerships with actual companies. And it's just really cool to see, you know? I think it's interesting.
Well, like, for example, the guys I like to watch are from Kinda Funny.
Yeah.
So Greg Miller, Tim Moriarty, Tim Geddes, and Nick Scarpino. They all used to work at IGN, and because of the advent of YouTube, they kind of started their show a while back while they're still working there, and they picked up so much popularity, they were able to spin off and do their own company.
That's really cool.
So I think there's a lot more of that happening where, you know, people might have like a normal day job, you know, they're like, oh, I'll try this YouTube thing for a while, and when it really takes off, they're like, oh, well, maybe this is a viable career. But since, like you said, it's only in its infancy, like, 5 years or so that people have really gotten into it?
Yeah.
We don't know if it's a viable long-term career quite yet.
If people play their cards right, they could definitely put away money, you know, for the future. And I think, like, a lot of the ones who got in on YouTube early have started doing Sidelines, like you said, Greg Miller and them. They have their own company. The ones that I watch, the gamers that I watch Vanoss, H2O Delirious, I Am Wildcat, Cartoons, Louis Calibre, and Dathy Denogla. Like, so they kind of tend to game together too, and I love watching them. So it's really interesting to see how they do it, and especially the ones who are making a killing right now are the beauty gurus. And so there's a few of them. They release their own lines of cosmetics. I mean, and then there's some that everyone loves and respects. Like there's
Isn't a top one like Jenna Marbles?
Jenna Marbles is not a beauty guru. She's more of like a humorous content
But
person.
she's up there, right?
She's one of the highest paid YouTubers, yes. And I must admit, I'm a fan. I love Jenna Marbles. I think she's hilarious. I love her little doggies. And I like her series on what a girl's blank means, like what her shoes mean, what her jewelry means, what her eyebrows mean. It's really, really
She's
funny.
also a gamer. Apparently
Yes.
she loves Oblivion. Or was it Oblivion?
I thought it was Elder Scrolls.
No, Elder Scrolls Online. That's
She was
it.
addicted
That's
to
it.
Elder Scrolls, but she said that she's not addicted anymore.
Okay.
So, but I don't know. I don't think I'm addicted to any particular game.
I'm
right
kind
now.
of two minds about the whole celebrity game thing. So, like, I know there's a huge, like, push towards mobile gaming, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, I think, was it Activision just bought King, the maker of Candy Crush? I think they spent more money on that than the whole Star Wars franchise cost to Disney and plus Minecraft to Microsoft. That's how ridiculous.
It was in the billions, that deal.
Yeah, that's how ridiculous it is. Was it worth it? I don't know. They'll find out, I'm sure. But I feel like mobile games are a good thing in the sense that it gets more people into gaming.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want more publishers to look at it as, I want to make a quick buck, so this is all we're going to do now. Because I still value these, fully fleshed out story experiences that you have on the console games. Yeah, and I was really upset when PlayStation started introducing minis and you start seeing like Angry Birds and stuff like that. I was like, really? That doesn't need to be on the console. Like, you could play that stuff on your iPhone or your $10 knockoff Android, like, tablet or whatever.
I think, you know what, I think where that could be viable too, those minis, are for families that have, like, little kids who like playing on their tablets and stuff.
Yeah, like the Amazon Kindle Fire where you can buy, like, an Econo pack for... like $49
Well, no,
each.
what I'm saying is that I can see the viability of having it on a console for that specific purpose.
That's true.
I think a lot of adult gamers, too, I think that's a guilty pleasure for them. Mm-hmm. It is for me. I mean, those games, I like it just because, you don't really have to think. And if you're in a very demanding job like I am, you just want to turn off sometimes.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I have nothing wrong with them. I just don't want the whole game industry to shift
go in that
towards
direction. Well, yeah, because sometimes you want a more
fleshed out experience.
Yeah, I was going to say in-depth gaming experience, a more rewarding one.
And I think those games actually make way more money than some of these AAA titles do.
Oh, they do. Well, the thing is, you have like in-game purchases too.
Yeah, and they add up real fast.
They can, yeah. I mean, there was a story of some kid who racked up like, what was it, $2,000 of charges from like Angry Birds or something like that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So for those of you that are listening that have family accounts on iOS devices,
beware.
This is a good time to set that up because you can make it so you can have to approve it before anyone makes a purchase on your family group.
Oh, that's sweet.
And that's very useful if you have like a teenager or something that likes to buy stuff.
Yes.
But I mean, like, the budget for these games are insane. Like, we were like crapping our pants when Kevin Spacey showed up in Modern Warfare. Mm-hmm. And here we have like all these mobile games. Like, what was that game called? Was it like something War, where it's like Kate Upton?
It's something of war.
Yeah.
Is it Art of War or whatever?
Something like that.
The advertisements for it pop up in the Kylie Jenner game. Kylie and Kendall game.
Yeah, and it pops up on Facebook
it's
all
Arnold
the time.
Schwarzenegger and Kate Upton.
Yeah, well, actually, Arnold has a different game now, too. Some kind of war game with tanks and stuff.
Maybe that's the same one.
Maybe.
Because I see, for those of you, I don't know if, I honestly don't know how many of our listeners play these glue games. But the advertisement for the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and the one for Kate Upton pops up all the time.
they're like seriously printing money or something.
I know, right?
Like, how can they afford to pay these guys?
Who would you want to see in a mobile game, though?
I don't even play it that much. Who would I want?
But like, if a game came out with a celebrity or sports personality or whatever, and you saw it and you're like, you saw it in the App Store and you're like, oh my god, I fucking have to have it because that would be so cool. Who would it be?
Okay. I don't have as high of a standard when it comes to like celebrityness, but if they made, if you guys seen the HBO show Silicon Valley, if they made a Silicon Valley game with those characters, I would have to buy that.
That would be funny. I mean, because it's a really good show, and so I guess what would you do? Like have your own startup?
Yeah.
Like you start up in the incubator.
Yeah,
like
and you'll
with Ehrlich?
constantly have like. Or like making like shady deals that fall through, and then like you'll have a CEO that keeps on like screwing up.
Yeah, and then you'll have the douchebag investor with his Lamborghini and stuff. I think, okay, personally, gosh, who would I like to see in a game? What if they made a Die Hard mobile game with Bruce Willis in it?
Oh, they better bring the money.
That would be awesome. I would totally play that. I would play the shit out of that.
Let's see, recent games of memory that has famous actors in it. So, I mean, I know you weren't too jazzed about this game, but I was actually really looking forward to Quantum Break on the Xbox. So, it has, I think it has Littlefinger from Game of Thrones.
Oh, the guy who plays Peter Baelish. What's his name? We're so bad. We should pull up this shit before we even go on the air. But anyways, it's just because we start randomly talking.
Yeah, but and then there's not Sean. The name of the character is Sean, but anyway, it has two really famous people, and the idea is they blend in real life filming story elements with actual gameplay.
Ooh.
So like when you play it, the cinematic, you think it's a cinematic, but it's actually live action, and it transitions so seamlessly.
Oh,
so
that's amazing.
I was interested. Maybe we'll go over that sometime or stream it when we get a chance to. But that's coming out later this year on the Xbox.
And yes, now that you mention it, we do stream. We do have a Twitch channel.
Yeah.
It's Game Over Therapy, right?
Yeah.
So we haven't been streaming as much recently, but we're going to start doing it, and we're going to kick it off with Sherlock Holmes, Crime and Punishments, because the remastered version came out, and we had to get it because we love it. We've already played the first case through. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to stream it because, our internet was acting kind of squirrely, but hopefully from Chapter 2 on, we will be streaming.
And if you have Xbox Live, it's free this month.
Yes, that's another thing. If you have Xbox Live, it's a freebie. Go for it. Get it. It's awesome. Very intellectual, but also quite beautiful. The scenery is beautiful. Victorian London and stuff. Or towards the end of Victorian London. But anyways, moving on.
Shall we go to our next topic?
Of course.
All right, so our next topic is going to be about Uncharted. So this is a series that kind of took off during the PlayStation 3 era, and they released the remaster of Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 last year. And we finally picked it up this year to kind of try it out because we never played 1, we never played 2, but we played 3 through.
Did we play all of it through?
I think we did, but the thing is we didn't really understand the relationships between the different characters.
Yeah.
Because we didn't play 1 and 2. And with 4 coming out later this year, delayed again by the way.
It's like the new date is May, right?
May 10th. May 10th
okay.
is the new date.
Mark your calendars, everyone, but in pencil because it might change.
Yeah, I already changed like twice. But we thought we would play it through before number 4 came out, so it would have a nice continuity. So we wanted to talk about what we thought of the first one. Now we just beat it this weekend. Yes.
I was not familiar. I think we'd only played the first part of the first game before. I don't know if we played it as a demo or what, but it was like familiar. And we actually played through. It only took us Friday and Saturday to do it. So yeah. I mean we weren't gaming the whole time. But and anyway, our time was split between playing that and watching House of Cards, which came out on Friday. If you haven't heard that, but I'm pretty sure everyone has.
It's a great show.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, highly recommended. It's very, very good. Anyways, so we played through the first story, and getting to see kind of the interplay between Drake and Sully was, I think, something that was at least important to me, to see how they interacted. And I really like the whole El Dorado legend. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's supposed to be a city of gold. For a brief history, there was gold in the New World, in what was called New Spain, which was basically Mexico down through South America. And the Spanish conquistadors came in and basically shipped galleons full of it back to Spain, which kind of funded the height of Spain's power, which started back in the 1400s and probably lasted to about the 1600s. So El Dorado was supposedly this, city of gold, and your mission is to find it. And the thing is, I just find it historically interesting. It's been pretty much like a myth, but I don't know. Can you really do spoilers for a game that old?
No, I don't think so. It's been out for a long time.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I don't think I should say, spoiler alert. But if you haven't played it, you can mute this part of the podcast or whatever. But basically, kind of tying in the historicity of it to the supernatural is actually really cool. I thought it was kind of cool. And I thought the ending was very satisfying too, where they kind of just, the heroes go off into the sunset. And it's a satisfying ending for people who like closure. It didn't really leave you hanging. I think maybe they did that on purpose, because it was the first installment of this game and they didn't know if there was going to be another one. So they could have ended it there, and it was like, okay, the hero wins, gets the girl, gets the gold, yay, everyone's happy. The bad guys die,
I want to say when we played 3 a while back, I think the ending was similar.
Was it?
But I can't tell for sure.
I don't remember.
Because I never played 2, and there might have been a cliffhanger at the end of 2. Because after they did 3, I don't think anyone was expecting another Uncharted.
After 3?
Yeah, there was like a 4 or 5 year gap after 3.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But in general, from Uncharted, the theme I get is each one is its own adventure, right? Whereas when we played Rise of a Tomb Raider, it was clear that they left a cliffhanger at the end. I'm not going to spoil what that is, but it implied that there was part of a larger story arc, which is based on the original Tomb Raider series, where there's like a certain adversary that Lara Croft faced throughout her games.
Okay.
So there was a cliffhanger there, but Uncharted, something I really like about it is each one is like truly its own contained adventure.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I have to say, I wasn't expecting towards the end when like the zombie things came out. I was like, oh my god, it's the Wendigos.
Oh yeah, like from whatchamacallit?
From Until Dawn.
From Until Dawn.
Yeah.
By the way, if you guys haven't played Until Dawn, and if you don't know what the Wendigos are, don't worry about it. But for those of you who have played it, you know exactly what we're talking about. These monsters are kind of like that, basically. They even
move kind of like it.
Yeah, they kind of like have the spidery type kind of movement. They look like, you know who they look like too? They reminded me of Croc from the Batman animated series, because they had like gray skin and the fangs and stuff. Croc. Oh yeah, Croc is creepy. Terrifying in the video games and the Batman video games, trying to run on those stupid pallets. Anyways, I'm sorry, we are getting off topic, but then again, that is part of the joy of having an unscripted show. Yeah, well, we know it's genuine, that it's not scripted or anything, because we keep going off the rails. I know, we totally do. That's part of the fun of doing this, right? Yeah, so I think we're going to wrap it up here. Hopefully we can start getting into a more regular schedule. I know we've been kind of really sporadic with doing these podcasts. It's just both of us have like full-time jobs, and we've been working really late, and so we just haven't had the energy or the time to dedicate to this. But we really want to, and for those of you who listen to us, we really appreciate it, and we'd love to hear any feedback, questions, comments. anything you might want us to add to the show. I mean, yeah. We're open to ideas. I mean...
Yeah, just tweet at us or leave comments in SoundCloud or on YouTube.
Yeah. We'd love to hear from you.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Bye.